Hello, and welcome to Fire Breathing Kittens, an actual play podcast. Every episode microplot is a complete adventure, with a beginning and an end that fits into the overarching macro plot of the whole season. Because they stand sturdily on their own, you can listen to these adventures in any order, and can skip any you don't enjoy. Today, we're playing using the combat mechanics from a game called Black Powder and Brimstone, designed by Benjamin Tobit using the Morkborg third-party license. It's our first time playing, so we might make some mistakes. If you enjoy these mechanics, you can find Black Powder and Brimstone on freeleaguepublishing.com. Build your own character and play a game with some friends. Speaking of friends, today we're joined by Deli Kincaid.
Hi.
Why don't you describe yourself a little bit, Deli, for our listeners?
Sorry, I got way ahead of myself there. I am a humanoid ferret, kind of a cream and tan color. This time I'm hoisting a rather impressive short sword, wearing some heavy to me armor, and wearing some pretty spiffy boots, if you don't mind me saying.
Nice. And in this particular system, Deli, what are your mechanics looking like for the listeners?
I am playing as a Vow of War class. So I will be, the Vow of War class, wearing heavy armor, short sword. I've got 5 strength, 1 agility, 2 presence, and 4 toughness.
Excellent. Thank you, Deli. Also joining us today, Hefty de Delphus.
Hi, everybody. I'm Hefty de Delphus. I'm a possum.
And in Black Powder and Brimstone, Hefty is a pistolier, or a ukulele. She may roll misfire dice a second time and keep the second roll, which is cool. She has 2 pistols, which are her ukulele, and each pistol does a d6 plus 2 damage, ignoring all armor. Her strength is 1, her agility is 0, fair for possums. Her presence is 8, and her toughness is 3.
Excellent. Thank you so much for setting the scene a little bit. And speaking of setting the scene, it's a damp and foggy day in Nicomoy. You're both in the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild Hall, and it's a quiet day around the Guild Hall. There's a lull in activity as the job board currently stands empty. So what are Hefty and Deli doing to pass the time?
I think Deli's probably, has like a little sharp pointed thing and is just kind of etching something on a little piece of wood that he found on his way over to the guild hall. He doesn't know what he's making, but he's trying to make something.
And Hefty?
Hefty's playing the ukulele. She's practicing a new song. She tries to learn one every week.
Nice. Heads turn with anticipation as the door to the guild hall swings open. A middle-aged man with a long white beard and a feathered tri-corner hat steps into the room and begins to move towards the job board with eager guild members waiting in anticipation for him to post whatever job it is. But as he spies Hefty, he turns from the board and moves directly towards you. Hefty, you recognize the face of Captain Jeremy Cunningham. He says, Hefty, good to see you again.
I'm playing
Still
ukulele.
playing your ukulele, I see.
Captain Cunningham.
I am here with business in mind, and I know that you and your friends have been sure bets in the past, and so I come to you on behalf of Master Lillian Evas, the Master of Trade here in Nicomoy. There's a particular problem that is coming from down south of Gardilu, ships disappearing and reports of some kind of sea monster, if such a thing is to be believed. And so Master Evas is looking for a crew that is willing to go down, investigate what's going on, find the most recent crew that was reported disappeared, the crew of the Belladonna, determine the fate of the ship, bring the crew safely home as possible, and most importantly, ensure that shipping can safely resume between Jifship and Nikomoy.
This sounds like it will cost you a lot of money.
Well, thankfully for the Master of Trade of Nikomoy, money is no small matter. No large matter? It's no problem. That's the main thing.
Hearing the number, Hefty's possum eyes grow wide, and she says,
I'm in.
Are there others that are here that you think would be a valuable asset on this quest?
Deli! You want a job?
Always. I don't know what it is. I don't want to know. Well, I do want to know, but yes. Before I even know, yes, I'll take it.
We'll take it.
And Captain Jeremy Cunningham relates for you as well. Again, this to journey with him to south of Gardilu, where the Crescent Steps arise some tens of miles off the coastline, in order to investigate the disappearance of the good ship Belladonna and its crew, potentially put down a sea monster if one exists, or determine what else is going on, and ensure that shipping between Jiship and Nikomoy and all the other locations on the in-between can safely resume. What questions might y'all have for Captain Jeremy?
Well, you mentioned a sea monster. Do we have any more details about the sea monster?
What with people not returning from the area, information is spotty. It's hard to say whether or not that's truth or rumor. And, he kind of leans in conspiratorially and is like, I'll be the first to tell you that sailors are a bit of a superstitious bunch, prone to believe in sea monsters and ghosts and all manner of things, though not without some grain of truth often behind such reports. As it stands, because of these reports of a sea monster, the Master of Trade has requisitioned and made for you to be able to prepare as part of your equipment loadout a set of explosives in a form of your choosing, whether you would prefer depth charges or a long gun with explosive rounds or harpoons with explosive heads.
Deli rubs his hands together. He's like, oh boy, explosives. I've got experience with those.
And I will tell you, as players mechanically, your choice is between 4 depth charges, which have a 4d6 damage rating, but they just go down and have a detonation device, tied to them. A long gun with 4 explosive rounds, and then you can, if you procure other rounds that are non-explosive, you can certainly continue to use the gun. But the explosive rounds are 3d6 long-range attack. Slightly less accurate if you're shooting into water, not particularly designed for that. The harpoons, you would get 8 total harpoons. They work equally good in and out of water, but they're a near-range attack, and they do 2d6 damage. So depending on what you think would be most valuable for your skill set, you have a choice here.
out of game mechanically, I'm only good at presence, so the ranged weapon is what Hefty would vote for. There's also this mechanic called a helping hand. Players may choose to assist a fellow player before a roll is made if it makes sense and they are close by. They may add a d6 plus their stat bonus and add any positive points to the main roll. So that's at least 9 added on any d20 roll if I'm helping someone with presence.
Which is pretty wild.
Yeah, that's I wasn't, you know, as a person who almost never picks ranged weapons, I was just going to probably get the depth charges and just try to go just go tank, because why not?
Okay, we can do the depth charges, but what stat would those use?
I still think it would be a ranged attack. You're it's like a slow version of a ranged attack, or you could place them and then detonate them. And again, because presence functionally stands for perception in this system, I think that would be the stat we would use for that as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Depth charges, please.
All right. I'm making a note of it. Is there anything else that you would need to procure before we leave for the Crescent Steps?
We're loaded up on food and water, so I think we'll be great.
And there's a bartender here. I order some rations. You could only heal in this game if you have food and water, so I'd like 3 days worth, please.
All right. You can mark that down. That's easy to procure here at headquarters.
Yeah, it's also already on my character sheet.
There
Yeah,
you go.
I would do the same. I would also get some rope, which is already on my character sheet.
Should I just
Savvy.
read what's on my character sheet? On my character sheet is -2 D2 damage armor, water and rations 3 days, 2 torches, 2 pistols, parentheses, ukulele, 12 shot, 2 gunpowder pouches, a firearms repair kit, a grappling hook, and Vino Vita.
Mine is minus D6 heavy armor, I think it's a D6 sword. Yeah, short sword. 3 days water and rations, 2 torches, 50 feet of rope, flint and steel, bedroll, and I put my gold into some potions and some things to drink. So Berserker's Brew, which, I'm sure we'll get to when it actually gets used. Some Crimson Leaf Tea, which is like an addictive stimulant, I guess. And then Green Fire Throne Potion, which is, throwing fire that burns in a specific area.
Nice.
Wow, we look really prepared.
Yeah, you come down to the docks, just kitted out with all this gear, and Captain Jeremy and the crew just kind of like give an appraising nod, and it's like, oh, this is what adventurers do. Like that checks out. And y'all set sail for the Crescent Steps. This is a journey that takes you down to the southwest around the loop of the land, as though you were headed towards Jishop in the far west. But Gardilu is kind of on the southernmost tip. And it's as you're making this journey, what for Deli and for Hefty, what's your experience with boats? How are y'all? Because this is a multi-day trip along the coastline.
Deli would have been on ships since he was little, because his family owns probably multiple yachts or multiple large shipping vessels that he would have always wanted to be on and be part of the action, and going and bothering the crew when he was supposed to be staying to a certain area. So he loves it, and he loves the fact this isn't a yacht.
Hefty's 6 months old. She was on a ship once and she fell off and almost died.
Yeah, that was this ship, as I recall. The good ship Eliope.
Yeah.
Yeah, Captain Jeremy is like,
it's
we'll
really
lay
good.
off the grog and the dancing on this particular journey. And so the crew makes its way with y'all aboard the Eliope. And due to the reports that are coming out of that region, the nature of your trip, Captain Jeremy relates to y'all as you're making this trip down that his intention is to put y'all down into the water with a rowboat approximately 15 miles out from the Crescent itself. Because, there might be a sea monster out there. And so he's kind of interested in not taking his own vessel fully all the way out to the Crescent Steps. And so getting no pushback from y'all, that is entirely what happens. And so y'all are rounding the southern coast. You can kind of, see the civilization around Gardilu in the distance. The ship makes a turn to the direct south, heads a good distance away, the mainland fading into the distance. And he brings out a spyglass and, puts it to your eye and points out, you can see as the horizon leaps towards you, this little bit of speckling on the horizon's edge. And he says, that's the Crescent Steps out there. If you get in the rowboat, head that way. It'll take you a couple hours of rowing unless you're a better rower than I expect you are. But you won't miss it. And you'll definitely get there before nightfall. You'll have a good handful of hours before the evening hits. And then what should we come back out here at this time tomorrow, the next day? How much time do you figure you're going to need out here to sort things out?
Probably, I don't know, 2 days? What do you think, Hefty? 2 days? 3
I
days?
can't row, so our speed is entirely up to you.
Well, normally I would be like a day, but we'll go with I don't know, 2 days. 2 days. We can do 2 days.
Okay. We're just going to head up to Gardy put in, replenish supplies, and then we'll plan to be out here in 2 days' time. And if you're not here, we will, linger. We can drop anchor and linger for a time. Hopefully we will see you promptly.
Yeah, just don't leave without us. That would be, ideal.
Yes. And with that, the crew, starts loading up all your gear into the rowboat and helps you over, lowers it down into the water, and wishes you best of luck on your excursion. And then you see, as you start rowing away, the boat, as quickly as a boat of that size can, turns and heads north back to Gardy. You guys start rowing with Deli doing the rowing, heading off in the direction towards these Crescent Steps. As you approach, you are able to slowly start to pick out that there's, a little more than a half dozen small islands that are, set in kind of a gentle curve. One of the first things that you would visually pick out is that the furthest from you, the southernmost edge of the curve, you can see, something that's jutting up above the tip of the farmost island. And, getting even closer, you notice that most of the steps, if you will, these, small scattering of islands, they're simply rocky crags that are jutting up from the water with kind of increasingly larger size as you get to the middle and less jutting out on the edges. But the two islands in the middle of the curve are large enough that they're dotted with scruffy shrubs and long grasses. Seabirds kind of circle above, their nests below, and you're able to, spy the signs of crustaceans scuttling in and out of the shallows around these different little islands. And before you can see it, you hear a commotion coming from that area of those two larger islands, voices shouting at each other across the water. Oi, just sign the contract. We'll pick you up. We'll get you out of here. And, voice yelling back like, how's a man supposed to make a honest living out here on the waves signing that thing? Never gonna do it. And Deli, that voice, the first voice, the distinctly feminine voice, ringing out across the water, you can't help but notice the sound of your sister Alice.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. Hefty, that's my sister, one of the ones yelling across the island.
Oh, does she know it's dangerous here?
If she knows, no, she knows. She just doesn't care.
Is that because she's a really strong fighter?
Maybe. I don't think she's ever fought before. She fights more in like a boardroom or a bank or when she goes shopping. Less like physical.
Oh, okay. That seems not great for against sea monsters. Is she like a risk taker?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. She got Dad's personality, so she's really good at risk taking, and then other people take the risk for her.
Oh, so she's probably hired like bodyguards.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. So we should be completely safe. I think. I hope.
Is she the one saying sign the contract, or is she the one saying no, because then I can't make a living?
The one yelling to sign the contract.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, sounds reasonable. I don't know, if you give someone a really good contract, there's no reason they wouldn't want to sign it, unless they're holding out for more money.
So, should we not announce ourselves and just wait? Because either they start fighting each other or the sea monster eats them. But I think, should we pull in behind a shrub and a rock here and just, see what happens?
Yeah, stealth it.
Because they're definitely attracting the sea monster if it's in the area with their loud shouting.
Yeah, sea monsters love loud shouting.
We should put a depth charge down, and then when the sea monster swims past us, we can blow it up.
Yeah, Love that idea.
All right, so what I think I've heard is that y'all are planning to take one of your 4 depth charges and drop it here on your approach to, if we call the 2 significant, if you will, islands here in the Crescent, kind of the northern island and the southern island, like here on the northern side of the North Island, kind of drop a charge here as you're making your way stealthily either around that northern island to the space between, or are you looking to put in and then like cross on the little bit of land to the other side of the shore and see what's going on?
If we put the depth charge between the 2 islands, we might have a better chance of blowing up the sea creature.
Yeah, then it can't follow us.
So taking the boat, around the curve of the northern island to get yourself between the 2, scrubby islands.
But under tree branches.
Yeah. Yeah, under a little bit of cover.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of cover out here to speak because of just how little land there is and how thin you would imagine the earth is. It's mostly kind of low-lying scrub and grasses and things.
Okay, then behind a rock and not closer.
Yeah, I like that idea.
All right, there's a stealth check in this game. Let's get our first roll of the game out here.
What do we add to our dice?
Let me see. Pretty sure that's an agility roll. Let's use the handy old Control F.
I've got the stealth rolls here. It says, when the PCs declare that they are doing something stealthy, enemies must roll a d12 to perceive them with any added bonuses the GM wishes to give the players for being well hidden. Which is interesting because in Merkborg, DM don't roll no dice. But in Black Powder and Brimstone, enemies be rolling a d12 here to perceive, the players.
And that's rolling a d12 or that's rolling against a dr12?
Oh, sorry. Enemies must roll a difficulty rating 12, DR12, to perceive them, with any added bonuses the GM wishes to give the players for being well hidden. So in Merkborg, and I guess in Black Powder and Brimstone, things that make rolls more difficult add like +2 to them, for example.
Yeah.
There actually are cover rules, and in limited cover the DR is 13, in partial cover the DR is 15, and in full cover the DR is 16.
Yeah, I'm thinking here that it's going to be, because the cover is not great, that it's a base 13, but then because they are actively engaged with each other, that you're going to get a functionally a +2. So they're rolling against a 15. And they fail. You stealthily approach around the corner and you see the scene unfolds before you. You can see that there are a pair of individuals that are standing on the beach of the southern island and another pair of individuals that are standing on a small sailboat, within shouting distance of that island. So a boat between the north and southern islands with a pair of individuals and a pair of people standing on the beach. And Deli, you can clearly clock and point out to Hefty that it is your sister and someone else with her on the boat, and then 2 individuals of unknown identity that are on the beach. And they continue to kind of volley back and forth at one another. Without talking to myself, you clearly get the sense that the party on the boat is trying to coerce those on the beach into signing on some kind of contract, and the pair on the beach simply aren't having it. You can see one of the people on the beach is standing and yelling. The other person is just like sitting on the sand, like throwing rocks, kind of distractedly. You get the impression that either this has been going on for some time or this is not the first day of this conversation.
Okay, I point out who Alice is to Hefty. And say, I don't know the person that's with Alice. Could be a business partner or something like that. She's still getting used to working by herself in business. So, but she looks She doesn't look very impressed. So I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Now I'm worried I shouldn't like just run up to her and, say, hey, I'm here, sis.
Yeah, interrupting someone in the middle of business negotiations isn't very polite. Maybe as she leaves, we can say hi to her after she's done and protect her until then.
Sounds good.
Very good. Y'all linger stealthed for a little bit. The conversation pretty quickly dwindles out. These sides seem pretty entrenched in their perspectives with not a lot of seeking middle ground. And so the boat starts to turn towards that northern island that you guys are hanging out on, or kind of hanging out around. And so I'm going to give them another opportunity to try and clock y'all, because now they're not distracted and pointed in your direction. And that was a very bad roll. So you're still stealthed as the boat draws nearer, and you can see that it is your sister Alice, and there is another woman with her. You can clock her green complexion, long flowing hair. If they get close enough before you interact, you would pick out some pointed ears. But that you see them approaching the island, and as you see the direction that they're taking, you notice that they have a little campsite set up on this northern island.
And the way they're going, there's no risk of them interacting with the depth charge, right?
Did you did drop it or were you moving into position?
No, I think we dropped it.
All right, so there's a depth charge here near the coast of the northern island in the water between the two. They are not in danger of running into it.
Okay, good. Hefty, maybe we should go, kind of meet them at their campsite. If you want to go say hi to them, we don't have to.
Sure. Why not say hi to your sister?
Yeah, why not? I mean, she's my big sister, so there's a whole big sister thing.
Do you want her to get eaten by a sea serpent?
Well, no, but do you have siblings?
Yeah, like a dozen.
Then you get it. The whole sibling, you don't want them to embarrass you, and
we don't live socially.
Different families have different structures. I get it. Okay, maybe we can. Why don't we just go to the campsite and meet them there, and not pop up out of our stealth.
Question for the GM: is the depth charge something we can activate at any time once it's been placed?
Yes.
Well, between the islands seems like a good place to leave this. The only boat, the other people are on the South Island. The only boat in the area is one that will be able to say, "Don't drive into the depth charge," and there's no other boats in the area because of the trade decrease.
Oh, sounds good.
Okay.
So y'all make your way to the campsite. As you beach your boat and start to move in on them, the pair of them clock your approach, and very quickly Alice calls out, "Alistair, fancy seeing you here." Your sister's got, these long, very finely made leather boots, kind of this ruffed blouse number, still bringing her finery with her out into the wilderness. The other woman is much more simply attired, kind of simple leathers that you wouldn't be surprised to find someone, tromping through a woods with.
Alice, nice to see you. It's Deli, around people who aren't you. This is Hefty, another adventurer.
Right. Pleased to meet you, Hefty. And Hefty and Deli, this here is Arione. And the other woman kind of nods, inclines her head and says, Arione Nemelfia. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you as well.
What brings you out here, Deli?
Adventure and stuff. Super top secret. You can't know all the details and stuff, right?
Are you asking me? You would know better than I.
It's an adventure thing. It's super important. But why? More importantly, why are you out here?
That's so interesting that you're on an adventure out here. I'm out here on a bit of an adventure of my own. I was so inspired by you, little brother, that I joined up with the Guaso Animal Liberation Group, and we're here to protect the reefs here around the Crescent Steps.
Sorry, that's a lot. That's a lot. When did you ever care about things that weren't like money and yourself?
Well, when you set off and decided to, kind of step out of the shadow of the family, like it got me thinking, it's, as I do, like life in our family, it's
boring.
It's very comfortable. Who could say boring? I wouldn't. Yeah. And, seeing you making a path for yourself and deciding that there was more for you than the boring life, it just, it made me feel like maybe there's something out there that I should take notice of before I get too settled in.
That's great. I shouldn't, yeah, that's great. That's a great thing, that you're doing. But you're protecting the reef, like the rocks.
Yeah, I don't know how much you know about like water. I've been learning a lot from Arione, but there's corals within down under the water that all the animals live in, and folks like that garbage over there. She points at the pair across on the other island. The way that they're doing their fish, the lobstering practice, they're trapping lobsters in a way that's killing the reefs.
Oh, so that's why you want them to... Sorry, we overheard a lot of what was going on. So you want them to sign a contract?
Yeah, Arione here, she's, she's very cool, but she has a Fae contract that she's made that essentially would force a magical pact on them to no longer harm or capture creatures of the seas.
Oh, okay. And what about the creatures of the seas that would kill people?
There's like a tick where Alice, like you can feel the gears like turning, and she doesn't respond to you. She like just turns and looks at Arione, and Arione kind of shrugs and says, "If they are not out on the water, then there will be nothing to threaten them here."
But what about their livelihood? Like you said, it's because the way they're catching the lobsters kills the reefs, that's the problem. But then you said the contract makes them not catch any sea creatures. Could they catch lobsters in a way that doesn't harm the reefs, and would that be okay with you?
You sense Arione's like kind of back arching and bristling a little bit at this suggestion, but perhaps you want to try and leverage that with some kind of role.
Sure. So which of these is like, I guess perceive is listed under presence. Should I make a presence roll to try to perceive if her response is a lie or the truth?
What's the truth that you're looking to discern here?
She said two different things and they contradicted each other. I want to know her real opinion.
The real opinion.
It was the sister who was talking, Alice. Yeah. The one thing that was said was they are trapping lobsters in a way that's killing the reefs. And the other thing that was said was we're going to make them sign a contract that makes them not able to catch any lobsters at all.
Yes.
So
that is entire. Those are both things that have been said that are right. the nature of the.
Is there a way that they could catch lobsters that wouldn't harm the reef that would be okay with you? That way they could still make their livelihood.
I would prefer that they left all the creatures of the sea be.
So it's less that they're catching them in a way that hurts the reef and more that they're catching them. Full stop.
It is the harm of the reef that first drew our attention here to protect the Crescent Steps. But if we are going to go through the trouble of, using powerful magics to protect the reef, why not protect all of the creatures of the sea?
Because a community that gains their livelihood from the reef can also be a fantastic protector of it. For example, if they need fish to live and something starts killing fish, they will fight the thing for you. The fishers of a sustainably well-conserved, farmed reef want to protect it too.
Make a persuasion roll of some kind. Either persuasion if you feel like you're just genuinely putting the case to Arione and Alice, or if you are trying to leverage a little bit of your adventurer gravitas and intimidate, go that angle. And
I don't try to intimidate people.
I think
Except mechanically, I do have a 1 a day for a super intimidation, but in general, Hefty's a 1 foot long. Yeah. She came with level 4 terrifying voice for her feats, but I'd probably use that against like the serpent. Anyway, my point is, she's rolling for persuasion because she's a cute little possum. She's only a foot long, plus tail, giant rat tail. It's cute. That was a 19 on the dice, so it's a 27 with my 8 presents.
Wow. Yeah, I think, you put this to her about, the potential benefit of sustainable farming practices and the way in which that might generate its own kind of protections for the reef. And you see her kind of like huff and, there's a pivoting in her body language, and she says, "Fine, I suppose that could be acceptable terms. If he even would be willing to sign," and again, casts a disdainful look across the water at the other island.
You can add a clause that because they're here every weekday fishing, that if they see anybody trying to do anything bad to the reef, they report it to you. Mandatory reporters. It's like park rangers. Does that make you feel better?
Yes, that would make me feel better.
Can I help you? Or, I don't know, I'm actually not very inventive at all. Can Deli help you design, a way to fish that doesn't, or a way to count fish? I actually don't know how to do any of this. That would, make you feel better about the sustainability of the exercise? Deli, you got any ideas? Maybe, they only catch fish above a certain size, leaving all the young ones, or, we could get, a little ruler, and any fish below that ruler you got to throw back. Ideas?
Yeah, any fish over a certain size or under a certain size would make sense. Because if it's too big, then that's the kind of fish that's going to help protect the rest of the schools. So you want to...
Yeah, so there's a catching range.
Yeah, a catching range, and you can't take fish that have eggs, maybe.
Oh, yes. Yeah, lobsters have berries.
I think before we worry about the size of what they're catching, we should first ensure that whatever they are doing that is damaging the coral itself is something they stop.
Do they know they're damaging the coral?
I have told them as much.
Have you shown them?
They have not been interested in allowing me to perform magics upon them. Would you like to see the coral?
Sure.
Arione takes, she has much more just leather sandals that she's wearing, which she slips out of quickly, takes you by the hand, brings you over to the water's edge, and, moves her hand in ways that are arcane and that you have some familiarity with. And all of a sudden, you're struggling to catch your breath, and you feel this burning on the side of your neck, and she pushes you over backwards into the water, and you are able to freely breathe through the gills that you now have on the sides of your neck, and she dives down into the water next to you. Hefty, are you doing anything while that's happening? Are you just kind of hanging out with Alice on the side, or were you also looking to get her to perform magics on you?
I'm going to assume that Ariona's not killing Deli and I'll just hang out.
Okay. I think Alice would look to make small chit chat with you. Be like, so what's your story? But we'll let that kind of happen off screen unless you actively want to focus on that.
No.
And so, Deli, as you are led by hand by Arione, beneath the water, the spell also grants you the ability. You've got great vision right now, and you can see that here beneath the waves, that there's this vast coral reef that stretches around the Crescent Steps, and in some places, it's bright, vibrant, all sorts of sea life swimming in and out and around it. But there are large swaths that are dull and gray, leached of color and life, and just these stretches that are kind of skeletal, barren fields beneath the water.
Deli points to the dull section. The section's clearly been hurt. And says that's from them. That's from them lobstering. That's from them fishing?
Something they are doing is causing this. I have not been able to figure out what, but there were other people who, it is not new for people to fish and to catch lobsters in this area, but their boat, whatever they are doing, something about their practice. It is causing this damage.
Deli would get really, really close to this dull coral. Would he see any drag marks on the coral, or does it look like something's just kind of come down and sucked the color out of them?
Yeah, no, it's a fair question. Give me a presence check. See what you notice.
I've got a +2 to presence. That's a 10. I got an 8 on the die.
Okay. So that's kind of 10's, clocking in at a pretty, standard level of observation. I think you would notice some faint, scuff marks, something of moderate weight, deposited and then, jostled and removed in various places. I don't know if there's kind of more that you'd look for based off of finding that, but you would see some light kind of scuffing and activity in and around the coral reef area.
Okay. He's at this point, he's actively trying to prove her wrong. He's actively trying to prove that it's something else causing it. Because it's easier for him to say, hey, they weren't the ones doing it, that it's another... Well, he thinks it's the sea monster. So he would probably just kind of... he would see the scratch marks and, okay, that makes sense for fishing, I guess. And he'd probably curse softly under his breath. he's already out of ideas. That was his one idea.
So you're looking about... You're trying to take this in and get a sense of this. I want you to make a DR. We're going to call this a DR 14 presence check.
DR 14. So I need a 12.
Jaws music plays in the background.
Nat 20.
Hey-oh. Oh man, how do I reward a critical on a skill check? I think the very easy thing to say right away is that you immediately clock, given your background, taking jobs, protecting people, needing to be wary and watchful. Even though it is subtle movement, you immediately latch on to the figure of some distance away from you underwater, kind of darting behind reef and rocky outcropping. you notice what is, I say giant in the sense that it's probably about your size. So very big for a lobster. A giant lobster that's moving around and seems very much to like be watching you and Arione. And you also clock that with a critical success. I'm going to say that you even pick out through the distance, through the disparate landscape of, some grays and some, rich colors and fish darting around, you still manage to pick out that there are rune markings that are etched into the side of the carapace of this large lobster, that kind of glow faintly in the dull underwater light. And you clock that it is actively trying to stealth, but you're like, oh, nope, I see that guy over there.
So Deli would, he's an okay swimmer. He's not a great swimmer, but he's an okay swimmer. And would swim in between the lobster and Arione. And kind of put himself between the lobster and her, and kind of point to it and say, "That's magic, right? You know magic things."
I'm going to let her have a roll based off of your own, pointing it out to her, and it's going to be a little easier because, and with that, she'll make it. She does clock as well, this figure moving through the reef, and she calls out. She says, "Hello, we see you. We see you back there." And you see a pair of like those beady black eyes on stalks just like pop up from around a rocky outcropping, as though they're like looking around a door. And I think it would turn and go. Like, I think it sees that it's been noticed and then it just like scuttles off.
And
what do you do?
Deli would call after, like, no, we're not going to hurt you. We just want to talk. And he would look back and say, how long does this spell, long does this magic last?
About an hour, but I can refresh it.
He would, he'd probably try to, I don't know how deep they are. Could he like pop his head up out of the water?
You would need to swim up a little bit to pop your head out of the water.
Okay, no, he would just start swimming after the lobster.
Ooh, very exciting. So in Black Powder and Brimstone, there's a mechanic for figuring out a chase. When you're chasing or being chased by an NPC, you roll your agility, a D6 agility. And whoever has the higher number is going to move kind of 2 slots instead of 1 in terms of distance. And when you're both in the same slot, the chase is over.
So thankfully, I have heavy armor on, but thankfully I took a feat so that I don't take agility penalties for having a very hard, even though I'm underwater in very heavy armor. That is going to be a 15. Yeah, I have a 1 for agility. So I have 14 plus 1.
Yeah, so you are going to pretty quickly catch up. Something about the nature of the spell that Arione is casting. You've been on boat slot, you've been in the water a lot. You have never been this fast and moved this smoothly through the waves. And so it is no trouble for you to quickly close the distance on this figure. And as you're like closing this distance, you see that it's, kind of doing that lobster movement of like swishing backwards. So it's watching you get closer. And you can see that it's holding in one of its claws what appears to be like a staff of some kind.
Deli's going to kind of stop and keep a little bit of distance to try to make the lobster stop He kind of like, I don't mean you any harm. We're cool. And then kind of pointed the staff and kind of mime like what is that? Or like he's trying to figure out if this is a lobster that could like magically talk, or he's literally in over his head. He has no idea what he's doing. He's just reacting to the situation. So just pointing to the staff and kind of like shrugging, or like pointing to his mouth and like shrugging.
Yeah. I'm going to want some kind of, presence check to shift essentially the demeanor of this individual. Right now, they are trying to run away, trying to not engage with you, and you want them to do something different. So let's either persuade. It sounds like you're trying to persuade rather than intimidate.
Yeah, he's not. Intimidation is the last thing he's trying to do. That's a 4.
Yeah. Does not seem like they are interested in stopping and talking. But what I will say is that you're gesturing. You stopped. You gesture at the staff. You see their claws move and kind of gesture towards themselves with the staff, and a voice that you can understand calls out and says, "Go away! We don't want you here." And it continues to scoot away.
Yeah, Deli's stubborn, but he's not going to keep chasing a lobster who is on his presumably home turf. So he's going to kind of swim up, and is it that far from where he is to where Hefty is?
It's a bit of a distance. This has been going on for just a little bit, but it's no trouble to swim back.
Okay.
Hefty, you would see Deli's head pop up, a few dozen yards, I imagine, away from the shoreline, and then Deli begins to swim back.
And as soon as he's on land, he would probably run over to Hefty and just relay everything that just happened. Having to go back and re-say what has happened 3 or 4 times because he's tripping over his words and he's so excited, and this is a big experience for him.
And I'll just note, for within the fiction, so we all are on the same page, as you fully leave the water, so not just when you pop your head up, but once you've bodily left the water, the gills recede, and you are back. Functionally, the magic seems to have kind of passed away on you. And you relay that information to Hefty.
Well, that sounds like a good time. I feel like that's another way you could turn this area economically viable for the people around. Offer underwater sightseeing trips. Tourists can come. They can get the neck things. They can go under the water.
Yeah, if you could talk to that lobster could give amazing tours. You could add even more to the experience.
As you're having this conversation, between you as fire-breathing kittens, Arione has also rejoined the group, and as the 4 of you are staying there on the beach, you hear from across the water, "Hi there! Who you got over there with you? That more of your gal pals that you're coming in to try and strong-arm us, eh?"
Deli throws a rock, not to hit them, but just like near them. Just because he's not a big fan of being called a gal pal. So he just kind of like impulsively just hucks something. He's done it before and he'll probably do it again.
Yeah, you throw the rock, it hits the water, sploosh. "I don't know what kind of lies they're filling your ears with."
Have you seen the giant lobster?
The what?
The giant lobster. It's about me-sized.
I've seen lots of lobsters. Don't know that I've ever seen one your size.
Well, I just did.
Deli, why are you telling the lobster killer about the giant lobster? What's the plan?
I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure if I'm trying to show off to these people I've just met, or if I'm hoping to get some information about this. I really want to be friends with that giant lobster.
So you told the killers of its family that it exists? The people who harvest its children regularly?
Okay, I'll admit. Yeah. Not my finest moment. Not the best thing I've ever done.
I bet a lobster that size would fetch a fair price at the market.
Did I say my size? No. I said not my size. It's like, it's so tiny. Such a tiny little lobster.
I will let you, player, think about whether or not that you are believed in this moment.
I mean, there's no way. Not if they can see Deli. If he's just a voice, then maybe. But no, if they can see him, then there's no way. He's just backpedaling and trying his best.
Why don't you bring that rowboat over here? We can all load in, head back to Gardyloo. We don't need to sit out here on the rocks baking in the sun.
Where's your boat?
He like thumbs over his shoulder. You can now see that thing that you saw jutting out of the southern promontory of the furthest step is the prow of a ship that is rising up out of the water. The rest of the ship presumably either below the water or smashed.
Oh, smashed. Oh, below the water. Oh, so you're kind of dependent on us for a ride, huh?
Yeah, that's about the same line what your friends have been saying. You can strong arm all you want. You'll never get Captain Weatherby to sign that paper.
What if we pay you money?
Well, no, that's a reasonable thing to be talking about. Let's, gestures towards Arione and to Alice, like, now this fine possum here knows how to have a conversation. Why don't you come over here so we don't have to shout across the water like this?
Okay, well, I'm perfectly loud. So anyway, there's this plan that I have. I had a plan. Okay, so you know how dollars are good?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got this new tourist opportunity where this Arione lady can give him gills and stuff. Did you see that ferret become an otter?
I saw them dive into the water and swim a bit.
Yeah, like how long were they under?
Yeah, a while, but it might have some kind of magics or special abilities.
And did you see how excited this new otter ferret was when they left the water? I'm saying we get like rich people from the city here. I know a bunch of them. And we give them the gill, whatevers, the neck things. They go under the water. They see the the rocks are different colors, whatever. And then they pay you money. We just need guides. People who are here every day anyway.
You hear Arione over your shoulder, Hefty, talking to Alice, and not saying necessarily loud enough that Weatherby can hear across the water, but, making it plain to Alice in a loud enough voice that you can hear is like, I'm not going to stay here around these islands to cast magic on rich tourists.
Deli would hush them, like just...
We can figure out the specifics later. Maybe you make an item that there's like 3 people can have the item at once, and they go down, they come back up, they give the item to 3 more people. Anyway, my point is, you did it for this ferret here, and the ferret, would you pay money for that experience, Deli?
Oh, definitely. So much money.
It seems easier than like having to deal with stinky lobster fish. Just saying, I'm a business-minded possum. I've got myself a small store with plushies, and it's doing pretty good. So I'm just saying, like, maybe this could be a business. What do you think over there in the South Island? Would you be willing to like show people the rocks, whatever?
Have they told you what they got on that contract they're trying to get me to sign?
I don't know about that contract. We would write a totally different contract.
Well, let me say that what you're talking about is the most sense I've heard in a while. Not making me sign any contracts, find a way to get more coin in my pocket. These are things that, middle ground. That's what I'm talking about.
And the more colorful the rocks, the more people will want to see them, and the more money you'll make.
It certainly seems something that might be of interest, depending on, the particulars and the specifics.
It's possible. So anyway, do you want to ride and we'll talk about it back in the shore? We've got a separate rowboat. Alice and Arione, you guys, you'd be cool if we take them back to shore.
I think as you're describing this, so you all have been out here, you rode out from Gardyloo. That trip took a couple hours. You sat stealthed in wait, watching to see how the exchange was going to play out between these two groups. Then you chatted and you dove under the water, and now you're chatting some more. Time's been passing. The sun is dipping low over the horizon into the water. It's a gorgeous sunset here with, cascades of colors, but the deepening blues are starting to set in. And Captain Weatherby calls out and says, "Well, you won't get me in that boat once night falls."
Oh, is that when the sea serpent eats boats?
That was what our experience has been.
So this is a daytime tourist activity.
Alice is like, "I don't know what he's talking about with going on about sea monsters and ghosts and such whatnot."
Well, let's find out. You want to stay here on this island and maybe put our rowboat out as bait?
I definitely want to attach a depth charge to my bait rowboat, by the way, GM.
Oh, yeah, I'd
sure.
be doing the same thing.
I can put one of these plushies on there. It'll make some noise. It'll make it sound like there's people on the boat.
I don't mechanically have that plushie, but in story, I do sell them.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got those kind of things. Is this conversation being held, again, for all to hear, or are you talking specifically to Alice and Arione right now?
Probably Alice and, I'm looping these guys in.
I believe you about your sea serpent. I think you're right. Let's observe it. I'm going to put our rowboat out as bait and we can get some info.
Okay. I think what we'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's going to smash up the boat, and then how are we going to get to land?"
That's a good point, actually.
I think as that pause hits, as you're thinking about that, again, sun dipping low in the water, I would love to get some presence checks from both of you.
A 10 plus 8 is an 18.
A 2 plus 2 is a 4.
And I can help you because I'm close to you. So using the helping hand mechanics, you may add a d6. So mechanically, I'm going to point to whatever I found. And I'm going to add a d6 plus... So that's 3 plus 8. That's 11 plus your roll.
11 plus 4. 15.
There
for
you
the
go.
listeners, Merkborg doesn't have the helping hand mechanic. And I'm kind of using it to point out that Merkborg doesn't have the helping hand mechanic.
So Hefty, you clock first and then bring Deli's attention to that something in the depths is troubling the water, churning up the mud from below and turning the sea into this frothing soup as the sun sets and we shift into dusk. And
Ooh,
out a
of
bit
character. I just want to point out mud is bad for coral reefs. Continuing
That's
character, I know nothing.
Yeah.
I'm a possum, but out of character, you don't want mud on your coral reefs. Continue.
That's fair. And off the islands, I think probably off that southernmost island, you see, water whirling around as this vast maw opens and this beast rises from the depths. A small ship could sail right inside the mouth of this thing and be lost to the world.
A small ship loaded with depth charges?
Perhaps. In the midst of the swirl, you can also make out that this giant creature has swirling around it a swarm of giant lampreys that are just hooked to its body, gnawing away at its bulk and feasting on its mottled flesh. And that kind of looms up out of the water a bit of a ways off the island. The pair on that southern island kind of scuttles inland and gets low to ground. Players, tell me what happens on your side of the crescent.
I would like to do a presence, which is perception check, on Arione. Does Arione know this thing existed before now, or is Arione like, what is that?
I think
Can I roll?
this... Oh, yeah. Make that presence check.
A 14 plus 8 is 22.
Yeah. You clock with the sense that you're able to kind of pick out the nuance that she wasn't surprised when, like the churn and the, oh, something is here. That's great. But like, as it broke water and revealed just the scope of itself, that she was not anticipating or prepared for this, that this is more than she was expecting.
Do I have time for a subtle jab?
Sure can.
Oh, wow, I bet that's not good for coral reefs.
And on that's where we're going to cut off and jump to break, and then we'll come back and find out what happens next in the second half of our episode. And so stick around, join us. Here with us today, we've had Hefty to Delphus and Deli Kincaid.
Can't wait to see what happens. Leave us a review on iTunes, and we'll read it on air.
Today's mid-episode shout-out is from Blighthouse Studio, who says, quote, Yimmel, we call upon you. The Sprouting is Call of Cthulhu actual play podcast set in a plant apocalypse. We explore the cradle as the cultists of Yim El attempt to usher in a deeper darkness. Find us on all podcast catchers by searching The Sprouting. End quote. You can arrange for us to read your shout-out at firebreathingkittenspodcast.com through our partnership with Buy Me a Coffee. We have paperbook, ebook, hardcover, and audiobook adaptations of our adventures on Amazon and Audible. Lastly, we don't pay to advertise our show, so the only way we can grow is if you tell someone about us. Is there an episode that would make someone you know smile? Tell them about it. Thank you.
Welcome back, folks, and thank you for joining us for our Black Powder and Brimstone episode part 2. Before we jump into the mix, we just love to make sure that we're all on the same page. And so we have Deli prepared, or Hefty, I believe, is going to be giving us the recap.
Hey, everybody.
I'm not going to speak in that voice for 2 minutes. Don't worry. So, Captain Cunningham gave us a ride on behalf of Master Lillian Evos, Master of Trade, to solve the problem of ships disappearing south of Gardilu. We are to find the crew of the ship Belladonna and ensure shipping can resume at the Crescent Steps, because they are presumed eaten/sunk/stranded on an island by a sea monster. Pickup is in 2 days. From these small islands with rocky crags and shrubs, we heard some commotion from the 2 larger islands. So, to clarify, my theory is that the ship Belladonna's remains or crew, who knows, might be a crew, are on the smaller islands, maybe, or at the bottom of the ocean now that we can explore there because magic. Anyway, we heard a commotion from the 2 larger islands saying, sign the contract, we'll pick you up. No, because then we can't make a living. And then the rich people were like, what is a banana even? $10? And then Deli's sister Alice and Arione Nemelfia, a green complexioned, long flowing hair, pointed ear lady, went to their campsite on the northern island, and we joined them. They're with the Guaso Animal Liberation Group. Totally not a terrorist group. Definitely reasonable and easy to reason with. Here to protect the reefs from the people who are trapping lobsters. Then they just assume that they're trapping lobsters in a way that's killing the reefs. Because people suck and animals are good, and therefore the people must be the problem. Classic eco-terrorist. Anyway, so Arione doesn't want any lobsters captured from these vast coral reefs and isn't really interested in investigating the bleached swaths at all. Just why not blame people? So Captain Weatherby seems pretty reasonable. We offered, what if what if you could make money in a way that doesn't damage the reefs? And they were like, Captain Weatherby was like, money? Heck yeah. And I was like, a merchant after my own heart, you know. And so when the serpent and the lamprey is feasting on the serpent, which looks painful, possibly cause for behavioral change, showed up, Arione seemed surprised by the scope of the sea serpent. And it's possible that although they can go underwater, they haven't much and didn't really know what was going on, just assumed they did. So, big fan of Arione. You can tell right here. Anyway, that is what we've been up to so far. There's a North Island. There's a depth charge, and then there's a South Island, just to remind everybody. And there's 2 remaining?
3 remaining.
On the boat itself. So, possible vehicle for swallowing the 3 remaining depth charges right into that serpent's mouth. Unless the serpent is, like, not normally bad and is just, like, bothered by lampreys. And then I guess killing it would be bad. So, killing it would be debatable. It has eaten people, so, you know, debatable. Anyway, and that brings us to, we're being attacked by a sea serpent, but we're on land, so suck it, sea serpent. Yeah.
Yeah, tell me what happens next. You see this, monstrosity rising off the shoreline, but you guys are all on land. What do you want to do?
I think Deli would just want to stand and watch and, a safe distance from the beach. I don't think he definitely wouldn't want to go towards it.
Sure.
Shocking.
Oh, yeah.
Shocking for him. I think he would be just spellbound because it's this huge sea serpent. I mean, what's not to be spellbound for it? And he would probably be watching his sister to see his sister's reaction to all of this.
Alice is just face completely. Oh, well, I guess pale doesn't make sense when you're a 3-foot-sized ferret. I guess fur's all bristly and like standing on end. Tail like straight shocked out and like all trying to get as big as possible kind of posture.
Bottle brushed.
Yeah.
Is what it's called.
And then like turning and fleeing quickly like to the most inland part of this little island.
I think Deli would probably just he would just be standing there. Like when you see something that's so impressive or scary and you just kind of freeze in spot, that would be him watching the sea serpent.
And Arione is pulling a similar maneuver. She is kind of just at your shoulder watching as well. Hefty, what are you doing?
Physically, not much. Yeah. I have like a little freezing habit. I just kind of stand here. Thank goodness my fingers still work on my ukulele.
So the 3 of you stand at the shoreline and, off in the distance, the monstrosity, kind of makes some slow laps, around the Crescent Steps, just almost patrolling, if you will. And barring any interaction on your part, you'll watch it for a bit and then you'll lose sight of it as it dives down beneath the waterline.
Arione, what do you know about sensitive filter feeders?
Gosh, how would she respond to that? She turns and looks at you and says, "My familiarity is greater with creatures of the woodlands, but I care for all creatures. The Guaso Animal Liberation Group does not make distinctions just based off of regionality."
That was kind of a non-answer. Deli would just kind of point that out.
So, like, I love trash. I'm a possum. I could just eat trash all day. But you know what really surprises me is a lot of things don't like trash. And I wouldn't be surprised if, you see that mud cloud of silt there? The fine sediment in the water?
Yes.
If you were a small, colorful rock and you got covered in mud, how would that make you feel? Dead? Because I think dead.
She like squints at you. It's like, I do not understand what you are trying to imply. Be straightforward.
That's a death cloud.
And?
Maybe.
And that's a dead patch. That white patch that doesn't have any color, what could have possibly linked the death cloud and the dead patch?
All the more reason for there to not be fishers and shippers traveling through here to draw the attention of the beast. I know, and I imagine you know as well, that a creature, if it is deprived of its food source, will travel elsewhere.
There's other ways to make the creature not here. Faster, more reliable ways.
And she like narrows her eyes even further, and says, though that may be a monstrosity, it is still a creature of Guaso. I do not approve of killing it.
Is it native here?
Native to this world?
Native to this reef that is experiencing negative consequences from the invasive species.
I do not know how we would begin to know.
It's almost like rapid environmental changes could be a sign of an invasive species.
Gosh.
You want me to do a persuasion check?
Yeah, let's see. Let's let the dice tell us how this lands for Arione. I don't think she's very accustomed to someone taking this kind of line with her typical rhetoric.
Annoying Socratic method against the eco-terrorist. All right, so I rolled a 12 plus 8 is a 20.
Yeah.
You know more about nature than I do. What do you think is the ecological consequence of an invasive species? Could you tell me? I'm just a city possum.
You're hitting all the right notes, Hefty. You are both. You have her on a back foot, and also you have properly surmised that she is very receptive to even feigned deference and a little bit of flattery. So she's a little bit putty in your hand in this conversation. What do you want the outcome to be here?
For her to recognize that invasive species calling is an important part of conservation management. Gotta catch me that 20-foot python.
Yeah. I think this doesn't, it doesn't just click over. But if you're persistent, you get her there. The biggest hurdle for her is that it's really easy to draw the line in the sand and just say like, the natural world does what the natural world's going to do, and we shouldn't kill animals, but to like take this more nuanced tack that involves culling an invasive creature. She's very averse to ceding that ground to you, but I think you grudgingly get her there.
Okay. And what might help is that you can do that thing. What is the thing that eco-terrorists really like? Like, they love, like, thinking about how it used to be.
100 years ago, this was all colorful rock.
I love how Hefty doesn't even understand coral. She's like, rock.
If only we hadn't meddled with it. If only it hadn't been meddled with, it would all still be colorful rock today.
So what do you propose?
Save the rock! Save the rock! Save the rock!
It's like a Save the Whales banner behind me.
Yeah.
But I don't know what coral is.
The GAL is also very prone to chanting. It's another thing that their group really likes. But how do we save the rock, as you say?
Stop the mud! Mud is dirty and gross.
Again, these are easy things to state. What is your plan?
Deli.
We stop the sea serpent. With an animal that big, there's only going to be a couple of them, like in the whole world. So if we get this one, then that's, at least 50% of the problem done with. Probably more.
I feel like that might be a misstep to like introduce that notion that this might be a nearly unique creature.
No, not that this is a unique creature. This size, like this being, it's taking up. Deli will backpedal because that's his special power. He's like, no. I'm not saying that there's only one or two of these creatures in the entire world. One this big, it's artificially this big. It shouldn't
You know,
be
when
this
you put a
big.
python in a normal environment, they stay pretty small because they get eaten. But if you put a python in Florida land fantasy version, and they have no natural predators, they reach unnaturally large sizes, and they eat things that they normally are not used to eating, and they're never predated upon themselves. And it's crazy how big they can get.
I'm gonna tell you as players the end result of kind of the fruits of this conversation, I think, are that you have convinced her to essentially allow you to engage with this culling. But I think especially with what you said there, Deli, if you were to look for her help in this, I don't know that you're going to get it. But she is, you've won her over enough that she's not going to try and stand in your way or stop you from doing this.
The Deli would have immediately turned to his sister then, and it's like, where did you two meet anyway? Like completely ignoring her, and just turning all his attention to Alice. Like you mentioned that you met because of the eco front, and you seem like you're really close and try to appeal to her. Like, this is his sister, this is his big sister, he's always known her. Like you think this is a good idea, right? That we're saving all these creatures, we're saving the coral reef.
I'm not even going to make you roll for, your sister well enough to tell that the banter between Hefty and Arione kind of largely went over her head. In terms of like trying to keep track of like, wait, so how do we feel about all these things? And I also will just tell you from your sibling familiarity that when you trying to lean in on essentially like that angle of like, oh, like, how did you meet? It seems like the two of you are close, wanting to kind of play off of like, get on our side and bring Arione over as well. You realize that something that you said hit like landed more strongly than you anticipated it. Like, not that it struck a sensitive spot like in the same way that, your misstep with Arione, but just like, oh, something I said had even greater weight here.
So the whole you two seem to be closer than.
Yeah, that's the one where you you feel like you maybe got your sister on the back foot a little bit.
Gotcha. It's like, and he wouldn't, he was still raised in a very posh household, so he wouldn't like immediately address it. But he would dance around it and be like, I'm so happy that you have such a good, friend, that you met somebody that you seem to be so close with.
Yeah, yes, my friend. And there's like the wide eyes and the kind of like leaning in language of like, do not tread further in this conversation.
Maybe if we leave you and her alone for a few minutes, maybe you can talk to her about what we're trying to do here and that we really need her help. And she seems like a very talented, proficient, magic. Like she can use magic really well. Maybe you can, sis, give us a little help.
Well, she kind of leans in a little like, well, what kind of help are you expecting her to give you?
Well, if, and I hope it doesn't come to this, but if we have to, assist this giant sea serpent off this mortal coil, we could really use her help when we do that because of magic and things like that.
I don't know that I've ever seen Arione show any sort of offensive magics.
Maybe she wouldn't need to be offensive. Maybe she just might need to help us if we need to go underwater or, walk on water if she can do that. I don't know what she can do, but, she doesn't necessarily have to, cast the killing, like he says it really quietly, doesn't have to cast a killing blow. Just if she can help us when the time comes.
Give me a DR10 presence check.
That is a 10 on the die plus 2.
Hey, there you go. Alice says, "Caw," and all right, I'll do what I can. And if you have nothing more to add to that, would kind of look to, it's late, look to kind of turn in for the evening at the campsite that she and Arione had set up.
Yep. Yeah, he would just give her a hug real quick and scamper off.
She hugs you back. Players, what do y'all do?
I want to drive the boat with the bombs into the mouth of the sea serpent.
Oh.
I can do that as a final move in combat, if you want me to ukulele it up a bit, but I do want that.
So you don't see the serpent at this moment. Is this your plan for when you next clock it, or you want to get out there and just start rowing and looking?
I'm suggesting to Deli that we put a little singing possum plushie, my prototype that I carry with me, my sample that I carry with me, on the boat with the bombs that we don't have to get in the water to retrieve.
Okay.
And we push it. And then it goes out into the water, and then we throw rocks at it to make the ripples, and then attack the serpent as it approaches it. No, I don't know. I feel like you're going to need some more rounds of combat, but I also don't want to be on the boat.
Quite a conundrum we got here.
The prototype makes noise, right?
Yeah.
So that in the boat, two people pushing the boat out.
I wouldn't want to leave the rock of safety.
I think Deli would get in the boat. If
Why?
Need be. Well, he would do it because that's what he would do. And because he's constantly trying to prove himself to people. But also because if the boat is moving around, like a stationary boat just floating there, even with ripples, might not be enough to get the serpent to pay attention to it. Because the other guys just have a boat sitting there, don't they?
So right now, the Captain Weatherby and the other person who has not yet been identified they don't have a boat or any sort of vessel. I bet you would see that they've probably grabbed some large pieces of wood, perhaps with the intent of building a raft, but not nearly enough so far. And then Arione and Alice have a small sailboat that they've pulled up. They've beached it next to their campsite. And you all got a boat, and you beached it on the northern island as well.
I don't think pushing the boat would be enough.
Okay, well, we can tie a rope to it, and then we can pull it back if it's not enough.
Yeah.
You've got rope.
I do. 50 feet of it. So we can really push it out.
So it sounds like we're doing a nighttime, fill the boat with the 3 remaining depth charges that y'all have, tying the rope to it, and then shoving it out to the water and kind of essentially like casting this bit of bait over and over to try and draw in the serpent.
And there is a depth charge in the water, so my plan 1 is push boat out, throw rocks at it. Plan 2 is set off depth charge, attract serpent. Plan 3 is Deli gets eaten.
I'm less of a fan of plan 3, if I'm honest. But, we could even take the rope and tie it to either side, and we could make the boat rock. So there's more movement.
Yeah.
It's
a plan.
Sounds like a plan. All right. I want some kind. Tell me. I think I'm going to start a clock. That's one of the features or mechanics that is used in this game. And I'm going to call this clock attracting the sea monster's attention. I'm going to make this a 6-click clock. That's kind of fun to say. And so y'all describe to me the checks that you're going to do in order to make this. We've kind of talked through the plan, but now let's put some dice to it and let the dice tell us whether or not this pans out for y'all.
So it would be putting the depth charges would have to be like primed or something, wouldn't they? Like that would be a thing. They'd have to go in the boat.
They're in the boat. We came here in the boat. We got out of the boat.
But do we have to do anything to them to make them ready to explode?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some kind of priming mechanism that is, like they're set up to be able to be primed easily.
Okay. So those plus the hefty prototype. Go, and then because I'm thinking pushing.
Take it out of my pouch.
I'm thinking pushing the boat out would be like a strength check to see how far we can push it out.
I like that.
Which I can happily do.
And I think there could be some kind, to your point, like mechanically it's not a challenge at all for you to prime these, but there might be some sense of like, oh, we want to rig these in such a way that they all go off at the same time, or that they either concentrate or kind of more broadly spread the area of explosion. However you want to kind of describe that narratively, I think you could make a check to say how effectively you kind of set up your bait.
They're designed to go off underwater, so making them go off above water might be a challenge.
Yeah, and they'd have to be arranged in the boat because they go straight down. So we'd have to have them arranged in a way that if the sea serpent came up, that it's actually below where the charges are going down.
I think the sea serpent's going to eat the whole boat and the depth charges too. Like a big old bite of whipped cream off a sundae with a cherry on top.
Only the cherry explodes.
Yeah.
Okay. So would priming be like a agility check?
I would accept an agility check.
I have a +1 to agility. Is that better than yours or the same?
I am good at only one thing, and that is presence.
Gotcha. I will do the agility then. That is a 18 on the die +1 is 19.
Ooh, very nice. I'm going to give y'all 2 clicks for that. You're a third of the way there. 18 being the rating that says, nearly impossible. So exceeding that definitely feels appropriate.
Deli's been practicing with explosives since the last time he went adventuring. Okay, so that would go in the boat, and then tying the rope to the boat?
Tying the rope, I mean, it's a thing that's happening, but that doesn't strike me as the thing that's going to effectively draw this creature in.
We should know if it succeeds or fails, though, because our ability to draw the boat back is dependent upon it.
Well, that's fair. That's a good point. There is some measure of risk here. So a kind of a DR8 check to properly tie this boat.
And what would that be? Strength?
Agility.
Agility?
To tie a knot.
I think agility.
Okay.
Yeah, knot tying.
Let's see if this die can serve me well again. 8 on the die.
There you go. I'm going to check another little box.
Now we have to push it out.
Which would be a strength.
That feels like a strength check.
Again, Deli, you're doing a lot of the work for us. Really. I've got a song prepared to summon it.
Even better. Deli just wants to be involved. He just wants to help. That is a 10 on the die. +5 is 15.
15 definitely is going to get you the success that you need on that one.
Yay.
Add another click to my wheel. You're 2/3 of the way there. You've got this thing out in the water. You got it tied to it so you can pull it back. You got it loaded up with 3 of your depth charges.
Can you throw a rock and then I'll play a song? And maybe the combined vibration and very loud, annoying music will draw the serpent here enraged.
Sounds good to me. So that's going to be a presence No, throwing a rock. Presents?
Presence is arranged like for ranged attacks.
Yeah.
If you want to make it a strength roll, if you're just like, I want to find the biggest rock that I can and just huck it, then I think it would be appropriate to swap in the strength for that.
I'm going strength.
Yeah, get that big rock.
He went rock hunting. That is a 9 on the die. Plus 5 is 14.
Yeah, that feels appropriate for a difficult but not impossible task. And then Hefty, what you got for your performance? Tell us how this goes down.
All right. I try to learn a new song for every episode. And recently I've learned that copyright law is awful. And I'm just going to avoid it entirely with a song from 1864. Oh, where has my little dog gone? Oh, where can it be? With its sea serpent shape and its lamprey friends. Oh, where can it be?
Nice.
How can the sea
Put
serpent
a
resist?
die roll on that too.
Okay. A 15 plus 8 is probably 23.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know your modifier, so I'm like I'm not expecting you to fail it. Yeah, with this combination of the splash of the boat sliding out to the water, the big old rock hitting it, Hefty really cranking up on both volume and pitch in a way to just let that kind of roll across the water. If you've ever listened to music out on a lake, the way things just kind of echo and roll that sound. And so it is not long as you're doing this little, trawling with the rope that you once again see the frothing of the water. Less frothing this time, as though, the initial arrival was coming up from somewhere else, and now it's just more that you see these strong ripples of this wake moving towards your position. And I think you hear, from that southern island, what are you doing? Are you daft? You're going to bring that thing right down on us. And once again, this big maw rises up out of the water.
Let's throw another rock.
At the boat, so the ripples come from the boat.
Yeah, Deli throws another rock. A smaller rock, but a rock nonetheless.
I'm going to throw a rock too. I'm a possum, so it's a pebble.
Oh.
And y'all put in all the work. I'm happy to. So this thing comes up. It's got a pretty typical MO. It sees a boat in the water, and it's like, I can gobble that. And so this thing, comes rushing through to just, hit the channel between these two islands, and take this rowboat that you've thrown out there fully into its maw. Tell me what happens next.
Do we roll to activate the depth charges?
Yeah, I think you should still treat this like a long-range attack.
Okay, I'm going to spend Devil's Luck to maximize damage.
That's, I believe, a dark power. Is that correct?
Yes, I don't know what that means. It says activated dark power. 1 Devil's Luck may be used to either lower the difficulty rating on a roll by 2 before you roll, or activate a dark power. And then it lists some stuff. But does this mean I signed a deal with the devil?
I don't know that you should interpret it as that. However, you should know that in Black Powder and Brimstone, when you activate a dark power, you roll a d6, and if you get a 1, you gain a mutation that marks you as an outsider. Some of these changes can be hidden or painfully removed, but not all of them. So consider that.
It's a 4.
There you go. You don't have to worry about it at all. Yeah, so you activate this dark power, maximizing the damage on these 3 depth charges that each have, I believe that we had talked about, this is 4d6 or for each of them.
I feel almost bad for it.
We don't want it to suffer.
Oh, that's right. This is a euthanasia.
I feel like that word usually means a different thing than a violent explosion in one's mouth. But let's max. So we've got 12d6 max damaged. Is going to be 72 damage if my memory serves for math stuff. And so in this, as you hit players, I won't take this away from you. Describe to me what this looks like when you exceed the maximum hit points for this monstrosity by exploding it from the inside.
I think there is a large explosion. I don't want to be graphic, is what I'm balancing in my head. It's a large explosion. It causes the lamprey to be thrown out of the water quite a distance from the sea serpent. And you don't see anything left of the sea serpent. There's kind of a vaporizing action that goes on, and there's just the lamprey that survived kind of frantically swimming away, and then where the sea serpent was, it is no longer.
Yeah, I will not overwrite the veiled drawing that you have done. I will say, however, definitely the smaller lamprey quickly just scuttle off. But this was a monstrosity with likewise some monstrous smaller creatures in its wake. And so y'all raining down on both the northern and the southern beaches are some functionally like anaconda-sized lamprey that now y'all need to deal with as they're kind of like frenzied. So let's get some initiative rolls.
I don't have that page pulled up. Is that where we just roll to see what turn order we individually go in, like as players?
Yeah.
And is that a D6 or a D20?
I believe it is a D6 plus agility.
I got a 3 and my agility is 0. So I think Deli's probably going to go before me.
I got a 2 on the die and my agility is 1, so I got a 3.
Okay, then of the 3s, the one with the lower modifier, I believe in Merkborg, would go second. So since we both have 3 and you have a +1 in your agility stat, I think you go first before me.
Okay.
From the Merkborg. Again, Black Powder and Brimstone is not Merkborg. So if the GM wants to make a different ruling, I'm cool with that too.
Oh, that sounds good to me.
Okay, so yeah, Deli would, because the first part of the attack round is movement, so he would get close to it, not near, but close, so that he's within like melee range. And then he's, I really want to drink a potion, but I'm not going to waste it. He's just going to attack with his short sword. Nothing fancy.
Sweet.
So it's a D20. That's a nat 20.
Hey, yeah, you just, you're going to take this thing right out with a single strike. There are a total of 5 of them that are on your beach. But now there's only 4.
Yeah, that's it for me. The one hit.
How many are on the South Island?
Hard to tell at this distance, but you can see that both figures, Weatherby and his crew, are up and swords out, slashing away. So there's at least a couple.
I am more concerned about their safety than I am about us 4. I mean, Deli's here. So I'm going to do an attack on those lampreys. And the way that pistols work in this game is that I see no range limitations on it on my end, but like if there is a range limitation, let me know. I didn't really look at the weapon page. I could look at the weapon page. Let me bring the weapon page up.
Yeah, I think long range is just considered anything greater than 20 feet, but I agree I didn't see if there's a cap.
Yeah. By the way, if the creator of this game is listening, I really wish your PDF had the search function. As a PDF, I expected it to, but it's all pictures. So anyway, I'm on page 76, and I'm on the weapons page. I'm going to look for... None of these weapons have ranges. No. Yeah, so I don't know. I can hit the moon. Page 77 with the weapons, but no stats next to them makes me so sad to compare this game to Merkborg, where it's a beautiful 2-page spread of the weapon and all of its stats on the page. And this is like reminiscent of that, where there's a picture of all the weapons, but instead of beautifully goring a man with a sword or something like that and like putting an axe in his skull and like amazing bloody brutality with the numbers right next to the weapons, it's just a picture of like them presumably hanging on a wall or on a shelf or something. And there's no stats next to that. Whatever. This ain't no Merkborg. Here's my attack. It's going to sound like a song. This is a C chord. And this is a G chord. Nope, that's... Nope. Is that a G chord? G7. There we go. I'm coming for you, lampreys. 3 blind lampreys. 3 blind lampreys. See how they flew off a serpent. See how they flew off a serpent. They all ran after the fisher people who are afraid of the lamprey evil. Did ever you see such a thing in your life as 3 dead lampreys? I'd like that to do damage. It says that I do a d6 plus 2, and I'm going to roll to hit. So first... Oh, that's a natural 1! Oh! I'm really glad that we have devil's luck in this game, everybody. Okay, so mechanically, what you can do on a devil's luck is you can re-roll any roll, yours or another's, and a 1 seems like the right one to re-roll.
It can also neutralize a fumble, so it can neutralize a 1.
Yeah, coming in at you, but a 1 wouldn't really hit things, so I'm going to re-roll it. I only miss on, so if a D or a 12 is the average damage, with my 8, I only miss on a 3, a 2, and a 1 out of 20. So, statistically, what's the probability of, do some math here, pull up a calculator. There's 17 numbers I hit on. I have an 85% chance of hitting if I just re-roll. Yeah, so I don't want to neutralize the fumble, I want to hit. But you can neutralize an incoming fumble at you, which is why that's useful.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, the enemy might miss too, so I would never neutralize a fumble in this game. I would always re-roll the dice. And that's 12. Plus 8 is a non-natural 20. And the d6 is a 2. Plus 2 is 4.
2 plus 2 is 4.
To try to hit a lamprey.
Yeah, you hear like a squeal across the distance that sharply cuts off, and feel like you were effective in your goals. And that was both of our PCs going. And so now I think y'all need to make some defensive rolls because you still have 4 lamprey that are hanging out on your side of the beach. I think some screams go up from Alice and I don't know. Arione doesn't strike me as someone who's prone to screaming, but she probably yells out. I'm going to roll a d4 and find out which person on the northern beach has 2 lampreys. And that's going to be Deli. So Deli, you need to make 2 defensive rolls. Hefty, you need to make 1. And I'm going to be attentive to what's going on with Arione and Alice.
So defensive rolls are d20 with agility, right? Like that's your modifier?
Yes.
Okay. That is a 16 plus 1 is 17.
Yeah, so you bat one of them aside as it's trying to get its toothy maw onto you.
And that's a 1.
Ooh, that one's gonna get you.
Whether I want to spend a luck point.
As you think about it, I'll read what happens on a natural 1 on a defense roll. If you accept this number, the player character takes double damage and their armor is reduced by 1 tier until it is repaired.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I will. I'll spend a luck point, a devil's luck point, to. I guess I'd be re-rolling that lamprey's roll.
Oh, I suppose here because it's so you've got your devil's luck.
Yep.
The one thing you can use Devil's Luck for that's just like straight up is if you anticipate and use it in advance to lower the DR. But any time that you deal max damage, neutralize a critter fumble, re-roll a roll, or ignore damage dealt to you, that's when you got to roll that D6 to see if your invoking of the dark powers generates a mutation.
Did I not do that this time? Should I do? I don't think.
I think you should do that, Hefty. I don't think we had you roll a D6 for this one.
I got a 5.
There you go. No problems.
Okay, I'm gonna roll. That's a 5.
There you go. No problems. You spend the luck, and you feel the teeth of this thing grazing the armor that you're wearing, and just the damp pressure of it wriggling over, trying to get a hold on your body, but you manage to twist around in your Faraday ways, and it can't get it. Yeah.
As a living noodle as I am.
Yeah. And Hefty, did you make your defense roll?
I did. I have no agility bonus. So as the lamprey gets closer to me, I look at it and my mouth open and drool comes out and I fall over sideways with an 8.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's going to not be enough to avoid its damage. And so it's going to get a bite on you and start gnarbling away. So if you could roll a D4 for its attack damage.
4. I have armor. It's a D2.
There you go. Roll to find out how much your armor negates.
2.
So it's going to deal 2 damage to you as it latches onto your body and starts chomping on you.
My HP goes down from 14 to 12.
And you have 1 giant lamprey stuck to you.
And I don't really make any sound. I just kind of like hiss a little bit.
There you go.
I'm not moving. I'm rigid.
And that'll bring us around to the next round where y'all have actions. Deli, what do you want to do?
If I look out at the lampreys, how clustered together are they? Or are any of them clustered together?
So the ones of significance, in terms of clustering together, the 2 that are on you is the cluster, and then each of your comrades here on the island is sparring off with one. I say sparring. Alice is mostly just running from hers. But each of you has a lamprey, except you got 2 of them.
And they're stuck to me?
No, they're trying to get purchase. It looks like the one that is going after Hefty is actively locked on to her. But you've got 2 that are trying to like get in a bite.
Okay. How realistic is it for Deli to move in a way to get maximum lamprey in front of him so that he can throw some green fire?
I think it's very easy for you to move yourself in a way where you can throw it and hit both of the ones that are on you.
Okay. Okay. Then he'll back up enough so that when because the green fire is like a 5 foot area. So he'd back up in a way that none of the fire is going to hit anybody else. So that would be his... Oh, that's his free action. So is there a roll to... There isn't a roll to throw something. Throw a potion.
I mean, if you're throwing it, it sure sounds like a ranged attack.
I help you by giving you a d6 of 5 plus 8.
Tell me what that looks like narratively, as Hefty is currently frozen and being bit by a lamprey of her own.
Thankfully, my fingers are still on the ukulele. And I say, "You can do it! You've got this! Throw it!"
Yeah, Deli throws it. I got a 9 on the die. 9 plus... My presence is 2, so that's 11 plus 8.
Yeah. You get ready to haul back on this and throw it. And the dulcet tones of Hefty urging you to accuracy allow you to throw it in such a way that you connect with the 2 lamprey and not yourself. Tell us, what are the effects of green fire?
We are going to make sure I can actually read this first. Green fire is a sticky, glowing liquid that is highly incendiary. Once the glass vial smashes, a 5-foot area is covered in the substance and burns for D6 damage each round for 5 rounds.
Whoa.
So Deli's just going to walk away. Walk away from the burning lampreys. That's a 4.
Both of them shriek and just curl up and in like charred cinders, freeing you up to attend to other matters.
Can I attack the lamprey that's on Hefty?
I believe that you like moved and didn't attack, and I think have a free action. Is that the economy for what I remember reading?
Yeah, I would have moved back maybe 5 feet so that there's enough distance so I'm not going to get green fire all over me. And then the free action would be throwing the green fire. But if we're treating it like an attack, then that would be the attack.
I think that would have been an attack.
Okay,
so
that's fair.
You could go over and get ready to attack or ready to assist, but not launch an attack right now.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. Hefty, what you doing?
If this is how much pain it is to be bitten by a lamprey, I really feel for those poor non-combatants over on the other island.
I'm going to try to hit their lampreys. I have 12 hit points. I'm fine.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, let's roll first. That's a 14 on the dice. That's a 22 overall.
Yeah, that'll connect.
I'm going for lamprey. And, okay, this is pistol 2 that I'm using. I totally forgot to roll for a misfire after the last one, so let me see if I exploded. No, I didn't explode. Okay, that was a 3. Anyway, remembering mechanics. I'm gonna only just jam out because there's only so many songs listeners want to hear in an episode, so I'm just gonna be like,
Lamprey death.
and roll for misfire. Another 3. The pistolier can re-roll, so the odds of 1/6 times 1/6 probability, which is, what is 0.16 times 0.16? It's either 2 or 3% but anyway, so the odds of me blowing myself up with my pistols are kind of low. That's why I picked the pistolier. But I didn't even have to re-roll it. I got a 3. And I hit the lamprey 4. 2 plus 2 is 4 damage.
Square! You hear another one cut off sharply.
Are there still more lampreys on the South Island?
Let's see. I think with that, you would see, the figures on the South Island kind of look around, and their sword arms, drop to a more relaxed position. Meanwhile, here on this side of the island, you can roll a d4 for damage as that thing just continues to, narble at you.
4. I'm going to roll for my armor. 1. I take 3 damage. I go down from 12 to 9 HP.
There you go. And then I'm going to make a roll for Alice and Arione. Ooh. You hear them both kind of crying out. All right. As they're trying to deal with the lampreys and crying out in pain. And that brings us to the top of the order with Deli.
So there's 2 lamprey left on this island, right? The one with
3
Hefty.
lamprey left. 1 on Alice, 1 on Arione, and 1 on, literally on Hefty.
Okay.
Ow.
Okay. Deli is going to, he's going to want to run over to his sister, but it would make way more sense to deal with the lamprey that's closest to him first.
It's okay.
No. He this is what he's going to do. But just because it feels out of character for me not to mention the fact that his sister's crying out in pain and he's like, this one first. So he's going to
I'm
attack.
fine. I have really thick hide, though, and I'm poison resistant.
Do you want me to go over and help her?
Help your sister. I'm fine.
The lamprey's like, it's like, you ever seen a dog with a chew toy?
He's going to go after the one on Hefty first, because if Hefty is back up, then Hefty can help. But he totally thinks Hefty could do it on her own. And he rolls a 3. I am going to re-roll that.
There's a little text that floats over your vision that says, Alice will remember this. And then make sure you roll your D6 on your dark power activation to see whether or not you get a 1.
I got a 5,
There you go.
thankfully. Oh, that's better. I got an 11 plus my strength, which is 5.
That'll connect.
And then my damage is a 6d6. And that's a 6.
There you go. Yeah, you cleave it right off. As its body is split in twain, the jaw muscle unclamps and falls off from Hefty. You no longer have a lamprey stuck to you.
I remain unmoving, but it's okay. It's just what I do.
And Deli would like pat you on the shoulder and then like start moving towards his sister.
Hefty, what do you do on your turn?
Another attack. Oh, wait, no. I can't attack because pistols run out of shot. So what I have to do is reload. So black powder weapons are kind of special. They ignore armor, which is fun, but they have some downsides. They have misfire dice that you roll after you attack with them. And also you have to like spend a round reloading my pistol. I do so. So what that means is my ukulele, maybe it's got drool on it, and I spend this turn kind of cleaning it off, being like, you're fine, and just patting it dry. And next turn, my fingers won't slip over the strings.
There you go. No, none of the lampreys are on y'all, so you don't need to make defense rolls. But I would allow, Deli, if you want to interpose yourself between the one that's going after Alice, you could make the defense roll and take it instead of Alice having to make it.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what he'd do. So close. I got a 19 for that.
Oh, yeah. Yep, you're able to, kind of wrangle it in such a way that it's not going to harm either of you. And very quickly, y'all are going to mop the rest of these things up. And if we can do that little bit of hand waving, the beach resumes with some level of quiet. I think you just hear the like plip plip of droplets falling from the shrubs around you hitting the ground after this mist has like spread over both of the islands. So there's that faint sound in the background.
I'm reassuring the eco-terrorists that things will be greener here now because of the nutrients.
All the nitrogen going in the soil here is going to make this bloom for years to come.
That sea serpent is giving back to the environment.
Is there anything else that y'all would do with your evening or intend to do, as you prepare for, because you told Captain Jeremy to come out 2 days hence. So you'd have another day on the island unless you're like, let's sail and row.
I want to get the people from the South Island on this island and give them some food and make sure they're okay.
Yeah. Are you doing that yet this night, or are you looking to do that in the morning to head over there?
Right now, because I'm checking for serpents, air quote.
That's fair. Yeah, y'all can hop in your boat. I imagine that Hefty hops in and then is looking to Deli to like grab the oars.
Yeah.
It's not our boat, right? We blew up our boat.
Oh yeah, that's right. You blew up your boat. Yeah, you you run over to your boat and it's not there, and then you run over to Arone's and Alice's boat. And they don't look super interested in letting you just take their boat across the water.
You want to come with us?
Can we not do this in the morning?
What if they're injured?
Arone like looks across the water and is like, they seem okay.
How about this? Deli has his short sword, but he also has a small dagger that does like D4 damage. He gives that to Alice and is like, we'll borrow the boat, we'll go get them, we'll come right back. If anything happens while we're gone, you can, kind of pulls her aside a little bit, is like, wouldn't she be impressed if you defend her from any sort of like thing trying to hurt you? But we'll be right back.
Like
you probably
that.
won't even need to use it.
What's your level of familiarity with the sailboat, Deli?
He's never captain. He's rowed one.
Does it have oars?
If it didn't, I'm not gonna. You guys were just dragging your boat with a rope. You could have had the foresight to be like, we might use these oars or other things that we had on it. So I think oars are available one way or another, and you can row this boat across with even the sail down. It's pretty still.
Yeah, we could roll it. I'm also, if GM allows it, I'm also willing to spend a devil's luck point for Deli to have knowledge of how to captain a sailboat.
I will not force you to spend it, as tempted as I am to get you to roll a mutation on the table. But I think it's fine. If you want to kind of press the issue, I think with your sister's help, you can placate Arione and head across to the southern island and pick up check on Captain Weatherby. And I think again, after this display of explosive power that y'all brought to the table, you find Captain Weatherby and his first mate Della pretty willing to just be like, oh, you want us to all group up together? Okay, let's go do that.
I'm so glad you're okay, Captain Weatherby. Did the songs help?
Yeah, they were very helpful. Thank you.
It's the least I can do for my future business partner.
That sounds like a fine way to express some preemptive gratitude.
Well, we've got some food. Do you want to eat it over with Arione and Alice on the North Island?
I'll never say no to a free bite of food.
I'm definitely going to kumbaya campfire, make these people get along while I feed them. I've got 3 days of rations, and I know that I'm being picked up tomorrow, right? So
yeah, it's a feast.
Yeah, day after tomorrow. You got a day for doing team building exercises.
Team building exercises.
Drawing out a new contract.
Yeah, a fair one that they're allowed to live.
Yeah, tell me more about you guys have certainly resolved the primary threat and objectives of what you were asked by Captain Jeremy. Beyond the kumbaya and the looking to kind of settle the waters between these two factions, are there other things that y'all would look to do?
Is it daylight tomorrow?
It'll be daylight tomorrow.
We should check for the remnants of the ship Belladonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the next day, tell me what that looks like.
Hefty's in the crow's nest.
Of the sailboat?
Yeah. And I'm playing music and then waiting. So it's like Marco Polo.
Survivors! Survivors! We have water!
The Captain Mother's like, I'm pretty sure you're not going to find any other survivors from our crew. When the
Belladonna?
When the Belladonna was lost, we were surprised, caught by surprise by that beast that y'all put an end to. It was a fair bit of luck that Della and I made it to land as we did.
Oh, I totally would have learned that during the Kumbaya stuff, that your ship was named the Belladonna.
Never mind. That didn't happen in world. There's no way the possum would be, let's look for the captain of the Belladonna.
Oh, yeah. It's me. I'm right here.
We found you.
And he'd point oh, that's a chunk of the Belladonna there, and the rest of it's kind of scattered. There were probably chunks of timber that rained down along with the fine mist and everything.
Yeah, I had just assumed that the Belladonna was a trade ship going from Nicomoy to Jashop around Gardilu, and that this was a fishing boat. So I just didn't put one and one together to make two. All right, we found
We've accomplished everything we came here to do.
Yes. So scuba diving in a tropical paradise for the rest of the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Deli would like to see if he can find that lobster again.
Oh, sure. He
has business with that lobster.
Yeah, tell me what that looks like, Deli.
He would politely ask to get the gills back so that he can go back underwater. Yeah, he wouldn't go far, and he most likely wouldn't be successful. But he would definitely try to swim out a distance so that he, like, not too far. I don't know how many feet, but not too far. But he would try to see if the lobster stayed close to the islands.
Yeah, give me this is going to be a DR 18 presence roll.
And I got an 8. So
yeah, you go under the water and you realize quickly that when a creature of that size has its demise in the ocean, scavengers and other smaller predators move in quickly to reap that bounty. And so the effort to do a thorough kind of search or investigation is really hindered by that. And so that's going to kind of be a loose end that you'll maybe want to follow up in a future adventure.
Yeah, Deli becomes Captain Ahab, trying to find the wizard lobster.
Yeah, and with that, I think y'all keep close to the island, and then on the following day, set sail back north and are able to rendezvous with the Eliope and Captain Jeremy and his crew, and make your way back, claiming your reward and the wealth and good fortune of the Master of Trade of Nicomoy. Other things that you want to kind of play off of or name as we narrate our way out of this particular adventure?
I would love to picture Hefty and a possum who is cool with gore and rancid and trash, just plonking a chunk of meat with a bit of scale on it down on the Lillian Evos' Master of Trade's desk and being like, "We did it." She totally takes it out of her pouch too. She's like, "Hold on a sec," and then it looks like she's removed a part of her body. It's oozing and bleeding and rotten, and she puts it down on the desk and she was like, "The sea serpent is no more, thanks to the valiant sword fighting of Deli." And here you go. And I just kind of push it towards her.
Yeah, and Lillian Evas would express her gratitude. She's a bit taciturn, but it is good to have the favor of the Master of Trade when you are either looking to increase the sales of something that is your own financial investment, or perhaps curtail the sales of something that you don't want to see traded in Nicomoy. So I'll let Hefty kind of file that away as something to think about for the future. Deli, anything to add?
Well, on the way back, Deli would definitely be telling anyone that would listen about the entire adventure he had. Grossly over-exaggerating how big the lobster was and the sea serpent. Trying to hold court, and as a non-kind of bard, he would be doing a horrible job of it, but he would be trying really, really hard. And then other than that, I think he would pull his sister aside, and when there's a quiet moment, there's nobody really around to say I'm really happy for it. I'm happy for you. He's never actually said you're in a relationship with this other person. But he says I'm really happy for you. And, he gets that kind of lovey-dovey that siblings can be sometimes, and then immediately is so when are you taking them to mom? When are you taking them to meet the parents and stuff like that? But he would make sure that she knows that he's happy for her and he's glad he could see her and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
And I think Alice would both respond with that gratitude of your affirmation, but also leveling that that's a few more steps down the road if and when things come to fruition. But Well, whether or not that story gets more airtime will be something that our listeners will have to find out in future tales from the fire-breathing kittens. And so I want to thank our players for joining us this evening with us for our adventure today. We had Deli Kincaid.
Thank you, and hello.
And Hefty to Delphus.